Do you ever get so lost in something that you forget you exist? Maybe it's a song or the presence of somebody else, and for a moment, you're just there. You stop watching yourself, and all that is in that moment is your immediate experience. It's kind of funny that when we forget ourselves, the world becomes alive again. This is what it means for the world to be romanticized. George Philip Frederick von Hardenberg, or more easily known by his pen name Novalis, meaning the one who clears new ground, was an 18th century German poet-philosopher. He lived a somewhat short, tragic life, dying at 28, but he was full of the romantic spirit. At 20, he got engaged to a 12-year-old girl, which was not so uncommon in aristocratic circles in those days. When his fiancée Sophie died at 15, Novalis was destroyed. And yet, Novalis wanted to make the world beautiful, to aestheticize it. For him, loss is what points to what is beyond yourself, and night is where the self dissolves and eternity reveals itself. Out of his grief came Hymns to the Night, a work of poetry where he speaks of his transmutation of grief into beauty. He writes, "The world's glory fled away, and with it my mourning. Sadness flowed together into a new, unfathomable world." But why does loss hold so much insight? How is this painful experience a catalyst for seeing the world in a new way? Novalis writes that the beginning of philosophy, the true philosophical act, is to slay yourself. When we experience loss of self, loss of things we identify with, we begin to see the world for what it really is. Alive, organic, and always in flow. Loss tears down our barriers and allows us to feel wonder. Every perception, every encounter, every sorrow becomes more meaningful. Loss helps you appreciate the transient nature of the world. And if you know anything about Buddhism, this all begins to sound very similar. But in his time, Novalis had no access to Buddhist texts. He just happened to converge on that same wisdom. Novalis believed that every passing thing is an opportunity to tune in to this state, and you begin to feel in everything a potential for revelation, a seed for greater insight. To romanticize the world, then, is not to flee into dreams, but to feel and enchant the mystery that is our human experience. It's to allow that mystery to scatter, transform, and grow into even deeper wonders. When we forget ourselves, when we let go of the urge to explain and control, the world stops being inert and becomes alive again. To romanticize the world, then, is to become immersed in it, to see it charged with meaning. Novalis was reacting against thinkers like Kant and Fichte, who sought to capture the world within these lifeless systems of reason. The problem wasn't logic itself, but that these philosophers had forgotten how to feel. Philosophy in his time felt disenchanted, flattened by an unfeeling form of reason. Novalis believed that philosophy shouldn't be a monolith to logic, but rather be a poetic way to experience the world, where every thought is a seed for a new perspective. He often wrote in aphorisms, these short poetic fragments anywhere from a sentence to a few paragraphs. Novalis chose to write in fragments because they allow for a particular flash of recognition that is unavailable to one reading continuous, unbroken prose. It does not allow you to hold on to these fixed terms and gives you sparks of insight instead. He called one of his collections Bluthenstaub, or Pollen. Each fragment was like a grain of pollen, light, mobile, and capable of giving rise to something new. A good fragment doesn't explain, it triggers growth. It's a pollination of ideas. Novalis saw the world of ideas as something organic, as a living process of cross-pollination, because after all, reality itself is fragmentary and always growing. The fragment itself mirrors the nature of truth. It's always in becoming. For Novalis, philosophy lies in the feeling of change, in feeling the aliveness of the world, not in closing it down to fixed systems. This sense of incompleteness was not a flaw, but a doorway. The fragment for Novalis was a way of keeping thought open to mystery. He once said that philosophy is really homesickness, the desire to be everywhere at home. Kant and Fichte and Hegel sought to systematize the world, to put everything into neat categories in order for them to feel at home in the world. But they forgot to feel at home in the mystery. To romanticize the world is to embrace change and open-endedness as your home. To aestheticize the world is to see it as a work of art. Philosophy and art, he thought, should be indistinguishable. Poet, priest, philosopher, all belong to the same type for Novalis. They all live aesthetically, with reverence. They treat existence itself as a poem they help write. Life must not be a novel that is given to us, he wrote, but one that is made by us. To help people tune in to that sort of worldview, Novalis advocated for a new kind of education, what the Germans called Bildung. But for him, Bildung wasn't about mere knowledge. It was about experiencing the world and allowing it to transform you. True education happens when you immerse yourself in all the disciplines, thoughts, and experiences around you. It's a dialogue with history, science, and art. Novalis understood that our attachment to fixed ideas and systems keep us from tuning into the true nature of the world. And so he used poetry and fragments to aestheticize the world. His words are seeds that point and flourish into new experiences. So maybe that's what it means to clear new ground. It's not building another system, but just planting another seed, to notice and appreciate each moment, and to see how that transforms into a new experience. This is what it means to romanticize the world.